A warm welcome to all our viewers. I'm your host, Shivangi Mishra, and you're watching another episode of South Asia Focus. Let's begin the show. As trusted maritime neighbors, India has repeatedly extended timely support to Sri Lanka in moments of crisis. Reaffirming this commitment, India recently announced a 450 million US dollars assistance package to support Sri Lanka's recovery following the devastation caused by Cyclone Ditwa. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar visited Colombo as the special envoy of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to formally convey the package. His visit highlights India's neighborhood first policy and builds on the ongoing humanitarian outreach under Operation Sagar Bandhu. Take a look. India-Sri Lanka relations are anchored in deep civilization links, close economic engagement, and regular high-level exchanges. Over the years, India has emerged as a reliable partner for Sri Lanka during periods of economic stress, natural disasters, and humanitarian crisis. Guided by its neighborhood first policy, India has consistently emphasized that the prosperity and stability of its neighbors are integral to its own growth and security. A key highlight of Dr. S. Jaishankar's visit was the announcement of a 450 million US dollars assistance package aimed at supporting Sri Lanka's post-cyclone recovery. The package includes 350 million US dollars in concessional lines of credit and 100 million US dollars in grants and has been designed in close consultation with the Sri Lankan government to address priority sectors worst affected by Cyclone Ditwa.
Recognizing the urgency of rebuilding, Prime Minister Modi directed that we now engage with the Sri Lankan government to address their priorities in that regard. The assistance package that we have proposed is worth 450 million US dollars. It will include US dollars 350 million in concessional lines of credit and US dollars 100 million of grants. This package is being finalized in close consultation with the government of Sri Lanka. Our assistance will cover sectors worst affected by this cyclone.
Sri Lanka has welcomed India's announcement, describing it as a timely and meaningful support at a critical juncture. The Sri Lankan leadership said the assistance would significantly aid recovery and rebuilding efforts in areas affected by the cyclone.
Dr. Jaishankar's visit today is particularly significant as he is here to announce a further relief package, which will provide meaningful support to Sri Lanka's recovery and rebuilding efforts. Through this gesture, India has once again demonstrated its enduring friendship and solidarity. We remain deeply grateful to Prime Minister Modi, to Dr. Jaishankar, and to the people of India.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar also met leaders of the Indian origin Tamil community during his visit, reaffirming India's commitment to inclusive recovery and long-term reconstruction efforts in cyclone-affected areas. Cyclone Ditwa causes severe flooding, loss of life, and widespread disruption across large parts of Sri Lanka, displacing thousands and damaging critical infrastructure. Responding swiftly to the crisis, India had launched Operation Sagar Bandhu on 28 November 2025 to provide urgent search and rescue operations, as well as humanitarian assistance and disaster relief support to its closest maritime neighbor. In close coordination with Sri Lankan authorities, India had initially delivered 9.5 tons of emergency rations through 2 Indian Navy ships docked in Colombo. The Indian Air Force deployed 3 aircraft to airlift an additional 31.5 tons of relief materials, including tents, tarpaulins, blankets, hygiene kits, ready-to-eat food items, medicines, and surgical equipment. India also dispatched 2 Bhishma medical cubes along with a 5-member medical team for on-site training and an 18-member urban search and rescue team from the National Disaster Response Force to assist local agencies in rescue and relief operations. With humanitarian aid and financial assistance moving in parallel, India's swift and comprehensive response underlines its role as a fast responder in the Indian Ocean region and a steadfast partner in Sri Lanka's recovery, strengthening a friendship that continues to endure in times of challenge. Bangladesh is witnessing renewed political momentum as tensions rise ahead of a crucial phase in national politics. With growing public debate over governance, elections, and democratic reforms, the return of a key opposition figure has drawn widespread attention. Bangladesh Nationalist Party acting chairman Tariq Rahman has arrived in Dhaka after nearly 17 years in self-imposed exile, marking a significant moment for the country's political landscape.
Bangladesh is experiencing a surge in political activity as tensions rise ahead of a critical phase in national politics, with debates over governance, elections, and reforms dominating public discourse. This heightened political climate has been further energized by the return of key opposition figure, Bangladesh National Party acting chairman Tariq Rahman, who landed in Dhaka after nearly 17 years of self-imposed exile in London. The arrival of former Prime Minister Khalida Zia's son came amid tight security and massive mobilization of party leaders and supporters across the capital, highlighting the significance of this moment in the country's political landscape. From the airport, crowds poured into the main 300-foot road leading from the terminal, where Rahman received a grand reception. Leaders and activists from across Bangladesh gathered to welcome him, and more supporters continued streaming in. With hundreds of thousands filling the streets, the area transformed into a vast sea of people.
Tariq Rahman, he was the son of the previous president of the Ziaur Rahman. But he is landed today in Dhaka. A few hours before, I have known that he have been in Dhaka and he is joining a reception program. He come for to winning the election, the next election of upcoming 20th February. But the significant history is that his previous history is not a gorgeous, is not a beautiful political history. He has been signed 17 years before. He have been signing that he will not be participating in the election, and his previous history, he was the accused and charged by the 21 August the murder case. And the Tariq Zia, he has in Dhaka, he will be participating in the election.
60 years old Tariq Rahman is the eldest son of former President Ziaur Rahman, who was assassinated in 1981. He joined the Bangladesh Nationalist Party in 1988 and rose through the ranks to become its senior joint secretary in 2002. That trajectory shifted in 2007 when Rahman was detained on corruption charges during an anti-graft drive. He left Bangladesh the following year from London. Rahman has continued to shape BNP's strategy, addressing rallies via video calls and meeting party leaders abroad. Rahman's return comes at a time of heightened political uncertainty in Bangladesh. Opposition parties have accused the government of restricting political space, while human rights organizations have raised concerns over a recent wave of violence and intimidation.
Mob terror has become an effective political weapon today, supported by the planted inaction of the law enforcement agencies, political bias, and the authoritarian community. In Bangladesh tries to hold election without the Awami League, the historical secular political party, 76 years old Awami League, it will not be possible to the election can be continued. The people will be rested, and the people, Bangladesh and the international community, will never such as a facial election.
In recent months, the Hindu minority has faced targeted attacks in several parts of the country. Reports of lynching, arson, and physical assaults have forced families to flee and sparked widespread concern over the safety of minority communities. At the same time, observers note that while the BNP positions itself as a major opposition force, it has faced criticism for past rhetoric and actions that have deepened political and religious divisions. Against this complex backdrop, Rahman's return raises concerns about the potential for increased tensions as political activity intensifies.
Time now for Asia This Week, the stories from across the continent.
Yokohama City's circular city model has various activities: treatment of garbage, waste recycling, disassemble rebuilding architecture, reuse of unused clothing, reduction of food loss, sustainable aviation fuel, and so on. Declaration is issued toward to International Organization in Asia Smart City Conference. Yokohama City overcame social and environmental problems in its long history. Solving current problem, Yokohama is becoming real circular city and global leader of its activity. It will expand to Asian and Pacific countries. India and New Zealand have declared that they have reached a free trade agreement, which is anticipated to increase trade between the two nations by hundreds of millions of dollars. Officials from New Delhi and Wellington confirmed the deal, noting that it is expected to be officially signed in the first quarter of next year. This announcement comes as countries worldwide aim to diversify their trade relationships in response to the uncertainty caused by US President Donald Trump's broad tariff measures. India has been intensifying negotiations with partner countries to expand its export markets following Washington's imposition of a 50% tariff on Indian goods entering the United States. MECTEC has distinctive technology of flexible printed circuits. It is thin, light, and bounding electronic circuit board and be integral for various digital device and direct body contact health keeping machine. Based on cooperative R&D of NOK Group, MECTEC fulfills global social demand. When scientific technology's progress brings new social subject, it will be solved by MECTEC.
Moving on, Pakistan's political divisions are deepening once again, this time centered around the judiciary. Former Prime Minister Imran Khan and his wife Bushra Bibi have both been sentenced to 17 years in prison in the Toshakhana second case, a ruling their supporters denounce as judicial overreach and politically motivated. The verdict has sparked increased security measures, concerns about potential unrest, and renewed scrutiny of the independence of Pakistan's judicial system.
A Pakistani court has sentenced former Prime Minister Imran Khan and his wife Bushra Bibi to 17 years in prison each in the Toshakhana second corruption case, a verdict that has immediately triggered political unrest and heightened security measures across the country. In anticipation of protests by supporters of Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf party, authorities deployed more than 1,300 police and security personnel across Rawalpindi, sealing key routes and placing riot units on standby to prevent demonstrations. The crackdown comes after Khan urged his supporters to take to the streets, calling the verdict politically engineered and legally flawed. Officials say the security deployment is meant to maintain law and order. Critics argue it reflects Islamabad's growing reliance on force rather than legitimacy, a pattern that has become routine since Khan's removal from office in 2022. The latest conviction stems from the so-called Toshakhana second case, involving allegations that luxury state gifts received during Khan's tenure were deliberately undervalued and purchased at throwaway prices. The case centers on a high-end jewelry set reportedly gifted to Bushra Bibi during a 2021 visit by Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Pakistan's Toshakhana rules allow officials to retain state gifts only after paying their assessed value to the exchequer. Khan's lawyers say the valuation process itself is disputed and that similar practices by past leaders were ignored without consequence.
जो सियासी इंतकाम पे मबनी जो चीज़ें भी की जाएं वो किसी तौर पे ना उनको सपोर्ट किया जा सकता है और ना ही उनकी तायद की जा सकती है। जमात इस्लामी ये समझती है कि इमरान खान साहब के ऊपर जो मुकदमात हैं वो मुकदमात सियासी नोयत के हैं और सियासी नोयत के मुकदमात को ताकत और जबर के ज़रिए से सज़ाएं सुनाना ये किसी मसले का हल नहीं है।
This conviction adds to a growing stack of legal cases against Khan, from corruption and state secrets to terrorism-related charges, most filed after his ouster. He has remained behind bars since August 2023 and is currently held in Adiala jail under conditions his family describes as isolating and psychologically punishing. Khan alleges he and his wife are denied basic facilities, including access to television, even as other inmates receive them, claims authorities deny. Rights groups say the restrictions reflect selective punishment rather than standard prison procedure. Across Pakistan, the verdict has triggered a wave of anger among ordinary citizens, many of whom say the Tosha Khana case reflects selective justice rather than accountability. Supporters point out that past prime ministers and senior leaders retained state gifts without facing prosecution, while Khan and his wife now face lengthy prison terms. For many Pakistanis, the case has become a symbol of how the justice system is being used to settle political scores.
तोशा खाना इससे पहले भी जो वज़ीर आज़म गुज़रे हैं उन्होंने ये तोहफ़े लिए हैं और बेगुनाह इमरान ख़ान को जो है ना कैद में डाला है और इसकी बीवी को। हुकूमत से हमारी दरख्वास्त है कि अवामी लीडर है और उसके साथ ये जुल्म ना करे और उनको जो है ना बल्कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट से हमारी दरख्वास्त है कि इस केस को हल करे और इमरान ख़ान को रिलीज़ करे और उसको इंसाफ फराहम करे।
Experts point out that earlier Tosha Khana convictions against Khan were suspended on appeal, fueling expectations that higher courts may again overturn the verdict. But critics warn that prolonged legal battles serve a political purpose, keeping Pakistan's most popular opposition leader locked away as the country edges towards instability. As Pakistan grapples with economic distress, democratic backsliding and rising public discontent, the jailing of Imran Khan and Bushra Bibi has become more than a corruption case. It is now a symbol of a state where codes, coercion and control increasingly replace consent, and where political dissent is met not with debate but with prison walls.
In rural India, homes were once built from mud and straw structures that reflected a simple life in harmony with nature. They were eco-friendly, sustainable and perfectly adapted to the climate. But with modernization, these traditional homes gradually gave way to concrete and steel. Today, we take you to a unique village in Rajasthan, where people still live in beautifully crafted mud houses, proudly preserving their heritage and a way of life rooted in simplicity and respect for nature. Nestled quietly in the laps of the Aravalis, Devmali is a village where tradition isn't just remembered, it's lived every single day. Simplicity, devotion and warmth shape its very soul. Its history runs as deep as the earth it stands on. Believed to be the sacred land where Lord Devnarayan incarnated, every inch of Devmali is registered not under individuals but in the name of the deity himself. To honor this sanctified ground, the villagers adopted the tradition of living in mud houses centuries ago, a practice they have preserved with pride and reverence.
इसमें देवनारायण उतार लिया था बालासर से। हाँ, यहाँ पर पूरी भारत में कहीं मंदिर बना हुआ नहीं है। हमारे यहाँ पर देवमाली गांव में पधारिया भगवान, तो यहाँ के आके पत्थर झुक गया नीचे, भगवान को निर्माण किया।
जो भगवान विष्णु का अवतार देवनारायण भगवान जब यहाँ आए थे तो हमारे दादाजी श्री नादाजी लावड़ा से बात हुई थी कि आप पक्के में रह जाओ, मुझे कच्चे में रख दो। तो हमारे नादाजी पुजारी थे भगवान के, तो उन्होंने बोला हम आपकी बराबरी में नहीं रहेंगे, हम नीचे रहेंगे। तो हमने कच्चा चुना, उनके निर्माण पक्का चालू कराया।
The mud houses of Devmali, crafted from clay and natural materials, are living works of art. Nearly 400 Gujjar families living in these traditional homes, structures built from earth, bamboo and stone that stay cool in summer, warm in winter and perfectly in tune with nature. Every wall and courtyard carries the color of local soil and the charm of age-old craftsmanship. One of the village's most striking traditions is that most houses have no locks. Villagers say trust is the greatest guard. Hospitality is a way of life here, and the spirit of Atithi Deva Bhava, meaning the guest is God, flows effortlessly through Devmali. Rajasthan's vibrant culture shines through the village, from the simple yet dignified attire to the folk songs that echo across courtyards. People travel from faraway places to experience this warmth and purity. Among the residents is Rasali Gurjar, a shopkeeper turned social media sensation with millions of followers. Through her videos, she shares Devmali's lifestyle and traditions with the world. Her beautifully decorated mud home, enhanced with modern comforts, has become a major attraction for visitors from across India and abroad.
भगवान से जो वचनबद्ध हुए थे वो आज भी हमारी परंपरा हमने बना ली है और आगे भी हम इस परंपरा के अनुसार हम लोग चलेंगे। हमारे गांव की सारी ज़मीनें भी भगवान देवनारायण के नाम हैं और आज भी कच्चे घरों में रह रहे हैं और हमारी वेशभूषा माथे के ऊपर सापा पगड़ी और धोती कुर्ता ये हमारा पहनावा है।
Devmali is more than a village. It is a way of life where simplicity, faith and humanity shape each day. Here, tradition isn't a memory, it lives and guides every step, showing how modern life and age-old heritage can beautifully coexist. As the sun sets behind the Aravalis, the village glows with a serene, almost spiritual charm. Every mud house seems to echo stories of devotion and resilience. This harmony makes Devmali not just a tourist spot, but an inspiration, a place that reveals the true meaning of beauty, balance, and a life rooted in simplicity. The Heritage Village in Rajasthan offers not only eco-friendly homes, but also teaches us how to preserve our tradition. And with that, we come to the end of this week's episode. See you next week. Till then, goodbye and take care.